Hey everybody, I'm going to get this shared a little bit so that we can get some folks on and y'all can uh, chit chat with me. I'm super excited to have you all here, but let's get this shared in a couple places before we get started. And we're going to talk today about craft shows because craft show season is upon us. And I want you guys to make sure that you're going to have a successful craft show and a really fun time doing it. So let's get this shared in just a couple of places. We'll just say, come learn about how to have some success at craft shows with me. I am so excited to talk about this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a little while, but I wanted to make sure that I had kind of everything gathered up and knew kind of what we wanted to talk about with our chat today. So we're going to get this shared in just a few places. I just want to make sure everybody who wants to see this will be able to and will get notified that we are going live today. I hope you guys are having a great Labor Day. I don't know if everyone really celebrates too much. We are just doing a little cookout with me and my husband. If you guys are doing anything fun, let me know. I love to know what you guys are up to. Let me share this one more place and then we will be all set and ready to chit chat. I do have some notes written down, so if you guys see me looking around, I'm looking at my notes. And that is why. If you guys saw the thumbnail, that is actually a craft show that I did last December, and I love doing that craft show. The people that set it up are fantastic. They're super nice. Really love them. Nothing fun, just resting. Hey, just resting is perfect. So yeah, I do have some notes written down on this lovely purple piece of cardstock. But let's get started. I'm really excited to have you guys all here. And be sure to chat. I can see your messages today, so make sure you say hi. Tell me where you guys are from, what you're up to today. If you've done any craft shows, I'd love to know how they went. So we'll get started. So one of my first big tips about craft shows is knowing who you're signing up with for your craft show. If it's their first year, don't fret. Totally normal, totally okay. But you do want to do some research about the person that you're signing up with, and you want to make sure that you do have a decent contract. Most craft shows will at least have a contract that you sign that just states that they are providing so and so and so, and you will provide everything else. It will have your table fee, the time you're expected to show up, things like that on it. So you just want to do that to protect yourself. Hello from Nova Scotia, Canada. Wow, that's pretty far. Georgia. Oh yeah, Georgia, you guys are definitely watching for some storms right now. But you want to make sure that you do have a really good contract with that person that you're signing up with. Another hello from Pennsylvania. Usually, if they've done a ton of craft shows, they already kind of have all that set up. But if it's a new person, they may just have a real simple form. And you can always ask them if they would provide you with something. And most of them are going to say, absolutely, no problem. And you can even give them an example of what you would like them to sign and have you sign. That way you guys are contractually obligated to each other and there's no questions. You'll also want to make sure that you know the size of the area you are provided. Typical areas are 6 foot, 8 foot, and 10 foot spaces. So you'll want to know that you are provided that specific space and that they agree that that is the space that you are given. Let's see what else we got. Good morning from British Columbia, Canada, Maine, and Florida. Oh, well, hello. Oh, Holiday, Florida. That sounds fancy. I like Holiday, Florida. So once you've kind of figured out those things, you're going to want to figure out about how much space you need and whether they're providing you with a table or anything else. Most places don't provide tables, but it just depends. Some of them do, especially if they're inside of places like churches or VFW halls where the hall already has the tables, but you'll want to double check. I always recommend if you're going to bring your own table, try to find one that does fold in half and has a handle. It's a lot easier for you to bring your items into the show. Another thing that you'll want to think about is what kind of items you want to display. If everything you have is going to be very large, you're going to want to think about how much space you physically have around your table that you are allowed to use and how much height you have to work with. If you are given a very small space, you may want to think about not bringing everything that's such a large piece. You can see I have some large display pieces here. I use this is a frame that my husband built me, and you can see there's nothing in it. It's completely nothing inside the frame. What we do with this is I string some twine around it, and I took it down because my cats like to chew the twine, but I string some twine around it, and I will hang some of my mini decals off of this using some mini clothespins. They look really cute and they're super easy to use. And that way you have an easy display and it's not taking up a ton of space, which is really nice. And then my husband also built me this. And this right here is a, like a big triangle. And it has these wires in it right here in between. It has about four, well, it has four, not about four, it has four. And what I do is I use these to hang my ornaments on, and it looks really pretty as a display piece. And I've had people offer to buy this from me, but it's my only one, so we don't sell this guy. But you can also use the mini clothespins on that, or you can just tie your ornaments to it. Another item I use is this, and I made this from all parts from the Dollar Tree. So it's a flat plate, a candle holder, a small dessert plate, and then a little sundae bowl. And I use this to put my cat toys in, but this would be really great for a lot of different things that you could place around your plate and inside of the center. And this is just a really cute display piece, and it just makes a little bit more fun. But this is one of the things you need to think about is what type of space you're working with, because you want to add height to your display. You don't want everything flat on your table. It just makes it boring and just not nearly as much fun. Hello from Australia and from California. Hi guys, I'm so happy to have you all here. Another thing that you can use to add height are wooden crates. This is just a really small wooden crate with just some little handles. Actually got this from a previous bride. She was selling these, and I have 6 of them. So what I do is I'll stack them up, or I'll leave them like this, and I might cover them with the tablecloth, or I may just leave them out like this because they're still pretty cute. But you can just add things on top of those just to add a little bit of height to your display. Another thing that you want to think about is your pricing. When you go to a craft fair, you don't really want to be that person that asks the price of something, because if it's too much and you maybe don't want to spend that on it, it gets a little awkward for you as the consumer and a little awkward for the seller. So I always make sure that I have tags on all of my items. They have my logo on them, and then they clearly state the price of the item. And I will just gently tie these on. These are just twine, and I do take them off when the seller buys because then I can use them again. But these are really great. They don't have to ask you the price. And you can even have a sign that maybe has your price list. So if you're selling things like decals or keychains, badge reels, ornaments, you can have a little price list that maybe says mini decals are $1, large decals are $5, badge reels are $10, keychains are $8. And that just gives that consumer or your customer or your friend or whomever is in front of your booth a really simple, easy way to see what your price points are. On the topic of price points, you do want to have a wide range of price points, from everything from an expensive piece down to a very inexpensive piece. You're going to have a lot of different people that are shopping at these fairs, and so you're going to want to make sure that you offer just a little bit of something for everybody. I do find a lot of times with mine, I sell some of the less expensive things to children who maybe have brought $5 from home and are purchasing a gift for a friend, a family member, or a pet, something like that. Let me check your comments. Hi from Chicago. It just depends. For a fair price on a craft table, it really depends on the event. I typically don't spend more than $25 if I know the event. But if it's a very event that you maybe attended a lot, you see a lot of people there, you know it's a good event that you've sold at before, you can go upwards to $50. But it just really depends on the event. Displaying shirts, I would get like a hanging rack to do those, and you could actually do one that maybe is a tiered hanging rack, or you could do those wire racks that you can place on either side of your table and you can hang them, or you could just neatly fold them and then use the crates to sort of lift them up. It just kind of depends. As for finding craft fair information, go to your local Chamber of Commerce. Most of them will have a lot of the craft fair. Look online, ask your family, ask your friends, check in with your Parks and Rec department. A lot of it, if you just check in with like your local government, check in with your churches, your VFW halls, your libraries, your shelters, things like that. A lot of those do have a lot of the great information on crafts and craft fairs. As for selling with a license, that's going to depend on your municipality. All are different. Where I am at, no. Under a certain dollar amount, we do not need a license, but over it, we do. I will never hit the over. It's like 20 grand. I don't go to craft fairs a ton, so for me, they're just a once in a blue moon type of situation, and if it's with someone I know. But you'll want to check with your local government on any licensing that you may need. So the other thing you want to talk about too is packaging. You don't just want to hand somebody their craft and be like, here you go, bye, hope you like it. I always like to make sure that I offer them a bag, a box, especially if it's a breakable. You want to make sure that you are offering them something to keep that in so that it does not break. I sell some soft stuff, so I keep these little bags. You can get these on Amazon. I should get you guys a link. Let me grab you a link for these, but these bags are fantastic. I actually have a couple of great bags off of Amazon, but these are something that you want to think about when you are doing a craft fair is packaging, because you don't want to just go and hand them their thing and then expect them to walk around a bunch with their item. It's just kind of a pain for them. So what I do is I always offer them a bag. And I will typically have a sticker. I don't have one on these ones because I just got them. I'll have a sticker that has my logo on it, and I'll put them on each bag, either as they're purchasing or pre-purchased at home. I will put a sticker on that has my logo. That way, if anybody wants to know, oh, where did you get that? Or they maybe see the person with that bag, they'll come over and look at your booth and recognize your logo and your bag, which is really great. And this is also something to think about when it comes to branding. You're going to want to brand your items, whether it's with your price tag, with your shopping bag, just on your table in general. You want to make sure that you do, in fact, have a wonderful brand that people will see and recognize. So that way, they'll see you maybe once and maybe they'll think, oh, I really liked whatever Shelly was carrying. And so then Shelly, I'll see her next time and recognize her brand. So here's a link for the bags that I have. I love these. They're just a little bit small, but they're perfect if you're selling small items. And they're great if you have ornaments because you can actually fit an ornament box in here. And then somebody can easily carry it with the handle. So these are really nice. If you're selling really, really small items, these burlap little bags are drawstring and they're super cute. And I logo them and I put on mine. So mine are 4 catnip toys that I make, but it says made with love, organic catnip, acrylic yarn. Thank you, Creative Craft Cleveland. So I put the little mini catnip toys in here, and the bonus is they get this cute little bag, and they can always use this for something else at home. But it's a really nice burlap bag, and it's small, and it's perfect for that. There's also these very cute little paper bags that you can get. And again, you can brand them, and they are a nice small bag, but you can get these in many sizes. And these are a great option for packaging your items too. But that's something to keep in mind when you go to a craft show. Make sure you think of your branding and your packaging. And with branding, you want to make sure that you always have a good quality business card. I get my business cards from Vistaprint, really inexpensive. They have lots of pre-made designs so you can design your own. I have business cards for both my crafting business where I make things. I have business cards for my YouTube channel, and then we also have business cards that we use for a volunteer program that we do in our county. And we've used Vistaprint for all of them, and they have been fantastic. Let's see. I do tumblers, trying to start my business. Should I carry stock or just have displays for craft shows? Tumblers are tough. I see a lot of people that do large amounts of them, and some of them sell fantastic with those pre-made designs. Personally, I would, with your first craft show, have a couple displays and make a display book. You could either use like your laptop and have a running slideshow of all the tumblers you have done, or you could just make a book where people can flip through and see photos of the tumblers that you have done. And then you can have an order form ready for them. I would definitely say make sure you get deposit money on any orders that you do take if you do any custom work, and make sure that you do have good photos to use for your product. That would be my suggestion, especially if you just started. Tumblers are getting a little bit saturated, but if they're not super saturated in your area, you might sell a ton at your show. But the nice thing is by offering them that custom order, they can order the color they want, the decal they want, and then if you have something on your table that maybe they want to change up a little bit, you can offer that, which is really, really nice. The other things to think about is you want to make sure that you have a tablecloth. And one great trick to having a tablecloth is you can go to Walmart and get a twin flat sheet or a full-size flat sheet for way less than an actual tablecloth. This is just a flat sheet from Walmart. Get it in any color you want. I try to get like a color that kind of coordinates with some of my other display pieces. My stuff is mostly like blues, mints, and grays. So this is perfect. I think it was $4. So it's perfect. And you can always just throw it right in the wash when you get home if you get anything on it, or if you just want to give it a nice refresh, because sometimes if you're outside, it might get a little dirt on it. And then the other thing that I use for my tablecloth, just to jazz it up a little bit, is I have this overlay. I got this off of Amazon for just a few dollars. I want to say like $6. and it's just sheer, and it has these really pretty silver stars on it. And it just sort of adds a little bit of dimension to my display. And I just like to have it because it just looks a little bit prettier. Again, fair price for a craft table really depends on where you're going, what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and the size that you're getting. I would say anything between $25, $50, just depends on the table. Oh, thank you, Sharon. Hello. So another thing, if your items are wearable, wear some of your items. If you are a necklace maker, or you make t-shirts, or you make jewelry, or you make hats and scarves, things, try to wear something that you've made. That way you can show what you've made and display it and show people how it fits, how it wears, things like that. I don't make anything wearable, but I do recommend it. And when I go to these craft shows, I love seeing people wearing some of the things that they've made. That way I can really see what they look like on, which is really, really nice. If your items are a wearable item, I recommend bringing a mirror, and not just a handheld mirror. I would get like a stand-up type mirror that you could either put on the floor or on your table so that people could see what the item looks like on, especially things for earrings, scarves, and hats. Those are very important. People want to see what they look like against their skin, against maybe their shirt, things like that. So you do want to think about bringing a mirror. Always recommend that. Make sure you are not a pushy seller. So I say that because if you go into a brick and mortar store, let's say you go into Walmart and you are looking at oranges, you don't want one of their employees coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, hello, can I help you with your oranges today?" And you say, "No, thank you, I'm okay." Well, you should really check out the Mandarin oranges. They're way better than these oranges. And then we have these slightly greener oranges over here. And oh, don't forget to look at the slightly more yellow oranges because those will last you longer. You don't want that. That's annoying. Nobody wants to be bothered like that. So when someone comes up to your craft table, "Hello, how are you today?" Simple as that. I'll usually say, if you're looking for anything and you don't see it, just let me know. And I leave it at that. We might strike up a conversation, and if it's just a general conversation, perfect. Talk to them. But don't try to push your items on them. If that person picks up a scarf that you've made and asks you, "Well, what material is the scarf made out of?" Absolutely. Engage them. Tell them what the material is, and maybe give them like a little fact about the material or how long it takes to make something like that. But don't go crazy. Don't try to shove them with those items. Don't say, "Oh, well, you need to buy this because Aunt Sue would love it." No, just let them browse. They will ask questions, but you can always just give them a little tidbit of information. If you see them staring at an item for a long time, maybe just say, "Oh, that's super popular. It's one of my favorite items. I really enjoy making that because this, and this." Leave it at that. They might strike up that conversation or they might not. It just depends on the person. Another thing I like to say is if you're at a craft fair, really try your hardest not to sit down. If you're sitting down, and I'm going to give you an example. If you're sitting down, you're way down here. You're not eye level with that person coming. You're actually at their waist. It just looks awkward, and nobody really wants to speak to somebody, and you look distracted, and it's just not very professional. So as much as you can, stand. It's okay to take a break and sit down for a minute or two, but if somebody walks up to your table, stand up. "Hi, how are you? Are you having a fun time at the show?" Simple as that. But make sure that you are up, smiling, you're dressed well, you're clean. If you wear makeup, make sure your makeup is nice and fresh. You don't want to go overboard. You want to look friendly and approachable. These are one of those things that people look for subconsciously. They're not really necessarily thinking about that, but if you look surly and unhappy, no one wants to come to your table and talk to you. They just don't. So always bring your smile, your good clothes, your nice hair, things like that. You want to think ahead about your crafts too. So if you are having a craft fair in September, you could display fall, Thanksgiving, Christmas. If you're having a craft fair in July, you can still display fall and Christmas. They're perfect. People are always looking for those types of crafts. So always think ahead. Don't do September craft shows with back to school items. Too soon. It's too close together. It won't work. So always think ahead. You want to make sure that you have some props with you. So if I'm doing ornaments, a lot of times I will have a little fiber optic tree lit up with a few of my ornaments on it, When I do my cat toys, I always have a little chalkboard kitty cat and a stuffed kitty cat and a few other things that kind of go with my theme. So just a few props, nothing crazy. You don't want to go overboard, but just something to jazz up your table and make it bright and fresh and happy. You want to make sure you accept credit cards. This is a big one. My items are very inexpensive when I sell at most of my craft fairs, but offering the credit card option is fantastic. And it's easy to do now with the way internet works. You can get a Square reader for like next to nothing. Very easy to do. And their fees are super minimal. I think you actually get the first like 100 transactions for free, which is awesome. Sharon, people asking if they can take pictures of your items. That's kind of a tricky subject. Most of the time I do ask them not to take photos. Unless they have said, I want to send this to Mary to see if she would like me to purchase that for her. That's a different moment where I'm kind of going to let them take a photo. But if they're just walking past your booth and they're taking photos, just kindly say, I'm so sorry. While I appreciate that you like my work, I would really appreciate it if you did not take photos of my work. I've worked very hard on these. Most people are going to be very fine with that. They'll understand. You might get that pushy person, and that's another thing. People are crazy. Straight as that. People are nuts. So you're going to have to deal with the public and deal with their craziness, and you're just going to have to keep smiling. Customer service is a huge thing. So if they get an attitude about taking their photos, just let it go. Just say, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but these are my crafts, and I would appreciate it if you stopped. If they continued, you're just going to have to let them go because you don't want to be that crazy person. Let them be the crazy person. Don't overcrowd your table. This is a huge one that is so important to me. And I brought all these extra bags out because if you have your craft items and they are laying on top of each other and everywhere, and you can't see what everything is, and it's all jumbly and messy like this, nobody wants to look at your stuff. I have been to several craft fairs, and there is a lady that comes every year, and she just fills her table so full that you cannot see what every item is. It's awful. She stacks things on top of other things. If you walk by, you feel like stuff's going to fall off. It's too much. So make sure that you are concise with your items. You're not overcrowding your table. People have room to pick up your item, look at it, feel it, put it on, then place it back down neatly. Because if they feel like they can't pick up something easily and then not knock 100 things over, they're probably not going to come look at your items. They're just not. I hate to say it, but it's true. I am not a big... Like, if something's too crowded and jumbly, I'm just going to walk past because I don't want to have to pick through it like a garage sale. Just not an idea. If you offer custom items, like for the tumblers, for example, or decals, things like that, let your customers know. Whether it's just to simply have a sign up that says, ask me about my custom work, or whether you're talking to them and they're like, well, I just don't know if I like the purple and the blue. Oh, well, I do offer custom items, and I could do that in whatever color you like, or this color and that color, or with this word or whatever. Here's an order form. Why don't you take a look at it, see if it's something you're interested in? Now, I do require a deposit of such and such dollars for that custom work, but I'm more than happy to do it, and I can process that order and have it to you within 2 weeks. You always want to make sure that you know about how long it'll take you to get that item and stick to it, because if you don't, the customer's not going to be happy. You want to make sure you do take a deposit. If they don't deposit, they're probably not going to pick up their item. If they've put money down, they're going to want their item. And you can ask for anything between 50% and 100%. Just depends on what you want. But I do always recommend 50% or more. The other thing to think about is having a pay station. Don't just have your pay in your pockets. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look professional. So maybe just take the corner of your table, have your money box there, and make sure that that is where you have everything nice and neat. And keep your money neat. Don't focus on the sales. There may be craft shows where you make no money. There may be craft shows where you almost sell out of your entire inventory. Even at those craft shows where you didn't make any money, you've made connections. Whether you've made connections with your other vendors at the show, the person that put the show on, or your customers, you have made connections and it's not a total loss. Make sure that you are handing out your business cards, your order forms, things like that, and letting people know all about your business. They'll come back to you if they're interested. And they may see you at another show and remember you and say, oh, I really liked so-and-so's product. Let me go buy something this time. So just something to think about. You do want to make sure that you're not also focused on the fact that if it's a small show or a large show, your sales can vary between each. I've been to very large shows where I've sold next to nothing and very, very small shows where I've sold out. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just how it works. Nature of the beast. There's a few things you want to make sure that you take with you to a craft show. You want to take change. So you want to make sure that you have singles, fives, tens, and 20s, as well as just a couple of quarters, things like that, because you just don't know what you'll need. So I always make sure that I have that kind of stuff. Take some bottled water and some food, whether it's just some granola bars, a quick snack, something like that. You are going to be talking and busy and hungry, and nobody wants a hangry salesperson. I always recommend bringing a pen and paper because you can keep track of your sales a little bit easier with a pen and paper, and you never know when you might meet another vendor and you want to exchange some different information that maybe you don't have on your business card. So it's always good to have that extra stuff there with you. As far as, let's see, you want to make sure you bring business cards. Always bring your business cards everywhere with you. Always have a little stack in your purse or in your pocket or in your car. You always want to have your business cards, but especially at craft shows, you can hand them out to other vendors. You can hand them out to your shoppers, and always put a business card every time you sell something. Slip a business card in their bag because they may come back to you for more items. You want to make sure that you bring a real cash box. Don't just bring like a Tupperware dish or an apron to hold your money. Get a real cash box. You can get them pretty inexpensive on Amazon. They come locked, they're nice and heavy, and you can easily keep your money nice and organized in your cash box. Make sure you bring order forms. Very important item if you offer custom work, and that your order forms have all the good information that you need from your customer name, phone number, address. If you want to take an email down, great, but you want to make sure that you have a great way to contact them when their order is ready. You also want to make sure that if your event is outside, that if they're not providing you shelter, that you get a tent. I have a 10 by 10 tent that I got from Home Depot, I believe, for about $120. It's paid for itself. We've used it a ton. It's a great investment, but it's something to keep in mind. You want to bring a chair if it's not provided and a table if it's not provided. Just things that you need to make sure that you check in with the person organizing the event, what you get. Somebody did ask, Michelle asked, how do you determine how much to charge for your crafts? Kind of a tough one because everybody does charge a little bit different. With decals, I do $1 an inch. So if it's a 6-inch decal, it's $6. If it's a 10-inch decal, it's $10. If it's got multicolors, so if it's a 10-inch decal with 2 colors, I will charge an extra $2 for that. So it'll be $12. With shirts, there's some good pricing stuff on Pinterest, but I usually go with the cost of my materials times 3. And some people will then tell you to divide that by 2. But for the most part, I just kind of stick with the 3 times materials depending on the item. If it were something that only cost me $3 to make and $9 is a little bit much, I might take it down to 7 or 8. You just kind of have to play with your pricing. Use Etsy too. Etsy's a great place to see kind of what people are charging for similar items to what you're selling. And just do your research on where you can get your materials more inexpensive, and go to some craft shows before you start doing a lot of craft shows, and you can see what other people are selling their items for. So it's just kind of a play it by ear thing. There's no right or wrong answer to it. You got to figure out what you're comfortable making off of your craft and what you think people will pay for your craft. And you can always change your prices if you need to. Sometimes I will bring some blank tags like this. And if I'm at a craft show, I don't change my prices mid-craft show. That's very important. If your price is set at $30 on something, do not change it. Because if that person comes back who looked at your booth before and sees that you dropped it to $20 and they bought something, they're going to think they got hosed. But I bring blank ones because if for some reason I'm at a craft show and I'm setting up and I have ornaments, we'll say, and I usually sell my ornaments for $6. And I think about it and I kind of see what's available and I want to change those to $5 before the craft show starts, it gives me the option to change those to $5. But never change your prices in the middle of a craft show. It's not good. It doesn't look good for you. It doesn't look good for your customer. So if you set a price, keep that price at the set. Now, that being said, if a customer says, I want to buy 20 of your ornaments, I want to buy your whole ornament display, could I get a discount? Yeah, you can. You're going to buy all 20 of my ornaments. Say each ornament is $5. It's a pretty good amount of money. It's $100. I would offer them a small discount of anywhere between 10 and 15% on that order. So I would offer them either 100, I would say maybe give them, say, I would sell you all my ornaments for maybe $180, maybe $185. Gives them a couple ornaments for free. They feel like they're getting a good deal, and you've just sold all of your inventory, and you've still gotten quite a bit of money. I honestly think we've covered a lot in this. If you guys are interested in anything else, please let me know. Always happy to answer those for you. Any questions you have. I hope you guys had a really fun time kind of talking about different crafts and the things that we can do. Make sure you guys, if you're not, subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos Wednesdays and Saturdays, and then I do some lives here and there. And I'm so happy you guys have joined me today. To subscribe, you can either click right in the corner of my video. There's a little box that says subscribe, or you can click the big box under the video. And if you guys, like I said, if you have any questions, more than happy to always answer those for you guys. Feel free to join my Facebook group. Just look for Cricut Help with Corinne Blackstone. I'm always on there, willing to answer any of your questions. You guys can jump in, show me some of the crafts you've made. I love seeing that stuff. Oh, thank you, Lisa, Sharon, Maria, Chow, Michelle. I'm so glad you all joined me today. Your questions were fantastic. I loved being able to answer those for you. I hope you guys have a great Labor Day, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun with your crafts. I'm going to give you guys a close-up look of two of my tags on my way out of my video so you guys can see them, because I really want you guys to see them and see what you guys can do. So let me walk over to my camera. So they're going to be backwards because YouTube's kind of nuts and I forgot to switch it, but you can see it's got the logo and the money on it. And then this is the one that I put with my product, and it just tells you a little bit about what's in the product. And these are just done with print and cut on my Cricut, and it's just some white cardstock and just tied to the bag. It just adds a little bit of that special touch. I hope you guys had a lot of fun with this today. Have a great holiday and happy crafting.